Hello there, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by. What we're doing today is a tarot insights reading. So what we're basically looking at is a life cycle that you're going through right now. We all go through several of them at the same time, and they sort of overlap. When one life cycle ends, then it leads into the next life cycle. And so whenever I get to the end of the life cycle or the fulfillment of the life cycle, please know that I am not talking about right before you kick the bucket, okay? You're still going to live. You're going to move on to the next life cycle to learn the next thing. All right? So a life cycle basically sets you up for a lesson or experience. And so we'll look at the setup for that lesson or experience. We'll look at what the lesson or experience is to be for you guys. And then we will look at the fulfillment of the life cycle and the ultimate fulfillment of the life cycle, which is what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life. Okay, so let me check before I put down cards. Did I put my phone on silent? Yes, I did. Good. Good. No distractions allowed while I'm reading. Alright, so let's put down cards for you, Pisces. By the way, the date that I'm recording this is May the 20th, and generally these life cycles run around a month. I wouldn't say that's a hard and fast rule, but around a month. Okay, my dears. We have your cards down, and I don't normally show the cards on these because I just read them a little differently. This has more to do with what shows up in what position, less to do with the meaning of the cards, more to do with little details that I pull from the cards that give me information. So to me, it seems like it's more confusing than helpful to actually show the cards in these types of readings. So that's why you're probably not going to see the cards unless there's something particular that I want to show to you. Okay, so what we have coming up first talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Okay, and so most of the time I see it show up as home, although I have seen it before show up as school or work as well. Okay, so what we have showing up in your environment, Pisces, is that there's things going on that you are aware of where you're not being given all the information that you really, by rights, should actually have. And so I think that you're doing some digging for some information in your environment about, what's going on in your environment. This may be a situation where if you're renting, maybe you're wanting to know if the people who own the property are getting ready to sell, or, I don't know exactly what this could, if this is a workplace thing, this could be, maybe there's some intrigue going on and you're trying to get to the bottom of it. But anyway, there's something that you are doing some detective work, kind of doing some sleuthing work, trying to figure out what's going on, having to do with your environment. So that's the first thing that comes up, Pisces. The next thing that I look at tells me about your subconscious leanings. And to me, it looks like, is this for you or for someone else? Looks like to me you want to offer somebody grace or let them slide on something. And I'm kind of getting the sense that there are other people around you that do not want to let them slide. They want this person or persons to pay full price for whatever it is that they've done that seems to be offensive or insulting to somebody around, probably to you and these other people, actually. But subconsciously, what you're working on is, how can we let these people slide? How can we make that happen? How can we give them grace? I feel like you kind of think maybe there are extenuating circumstances in this situation, and so you would like to respond in a little different way than you would normally to something like this, whatever it is that you're mulling around in your subconscious. Let's see what's next. The next thing I'm looking at has to do with two different things. First of all, your learning style, and second of all, your communication style, especially as it pertains to this particular life cycle. Starting with learning style, looks to me like right now you're learning the most by teaching other people. So you may be passing along information, having to answer questions, teaching other people, and that's putting you in a position where you have to dig in for more information, or where you're having to look deeper than what you normally do at the information that you're sharing. So learning by teaching is really what I'm seeing here. And then as far as communication, I feel like you're doing a lot of communicating, and not just to one person. I feel like you are communicating to a lot of different people. You may even be the go-between or the middleman in a lot of different situations. And so there's a lot of communication that you're doing, and it seems like it's going on like almost all the time. This is the most communication I've ever had come up in a reading. So that's interesting. Let's see. The next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your work. And for me, I have two ways of looking at work, and so we're going to look at both of those definitions. The first one has to do with how you make a living, or if you don't actually do something that brings in uh, income, then we're looking at what do you do that makes you satisfied and feel like you're a contributing member of society. Um, and then the second meaning is going to be more about that inner work that we do to improve our own character, our own personality. Okay, so let's start with how you make your money, honey. What I'm seeing here is that something about how you make your money is really scary right now for you. It could be that you're out of work, or it could be that, there are rumors floating around about where you work getting ready to shut down or be bought out. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but what I can tell you is whenever it comes to how you actually bring in your income, there's some major fear going on in that area for you. And this is a general reading, so there's a lot of different ways that this can manifest, because it's, if you want a private, specific reading that only looks at your energy, then you want to check out my website and then contact me at that contact information there, and we can book a private reading where we're just looking at what's going on around your situations. But anyway, let's get on with this. This is a general reading. Let's get on with that. So I do see some fear regarding the work, regarding your work coming in. Okay, and so now let's shift gears and let's look at inner work. What's going on with you as far as spiritually? What are you doing to improve your character? Seems to me like you've been on a long and winding road as far as spiritually. What I'm picking up here, Pisces, is a lot of you have been kind of searching for what is the truth for a long time. Maybe you find bits and pieces and you've been expanding on that for a long time. And I feel like you are continuing to make progress. I'm kind of hearing it's a long and winding road. So I think you've been working at this a long time. I don't think you're at a point yet where you're ready to stop investigating your own spirituality and what it is that you actually believe. So to me, there's also coming up something here about, there's a little bit of fear in this investigation that you're doing too, as far as maybe some of you were raised one way that was very strict about, what religion you should be a part of and what religion's going to heaven and the rest are not, or whatever. And I think there's a little bit here about you're really kind of looking that type of fear in the eyeball, and you're coming to your own conclusions for yourself about how true that is or not. So that's what we have going on for spiritual or inner work, Pisces, at least as it pertains to this life cycle. The next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that part of you that's being grown or expanded right now. It looks to me like what's going on is you're becoming more balanced in your emotions. You're becoming more balanced in your thought life. I'm hearing that some of you had an erratic thought life. And once again, I want to remind you that this is a general reading, so not everybody is going to, not all of these messages are going to hit home with everybody. But I feel like you did have maybe an erratic thought life where you were having a hard time to stay focused, and now you're finding balance in how you think about things. You're finding that focus. You're finding ways to be able to really focus on the things that you want to focus on without being as distracted as you were before. Okay? Now, the next thing that we have coming up is we have things that you stand for. So this is kind of an interesting card to see somebody stand for, but it looks to me like you have some insecurities about things, and maybe it has to do with the work situation. I don't really know. But there are some insecurities that you have about things, Pisces. And it seems to me like somebody has kind of looked at you and said, why? Why are you so insecure about this? And, you're self-aware enough, Pisces. I mean, water signs, we're all pretty self-aware. I'm not Pisces, I'm Scorpio, but water signs are generally pretty self-aware unless we're just trying to hide from our feelings. And to me, I think that you're self-aware enough to know that these insecurities didn't just pop up out of the blue. They're not just in your head. There's a reason that you have them. Now, I'm not saying hold on to them because of that reason, but I'm saying that you're self-aware enough to know that these didn't just pop up and jump up and overtake you out of the blue. There's a reason they're there. And I think that you're actually having to defend the fact that you're insecure and you're trying to help somebody else actually accept you for the way you are. I don't feel like this means you're not working on these insecurities. It just means you're trying to help somebody understand where you are right now today. Okay, so you've had to defend the idea that, it's okay if you have insecurities. Everybody has them, and you have perfectly good reasons to have the ones that you have, and you're working on them. So step off the curb, Jack. Don't be so critical. Get on down the road with your life. No sticky beaks needed. No nosy people needed. No bossy people needed. Okay, so let me get off of my soapbox there. All right, Pisces. How other people perceive you. This is going to be the person that was like, why are you so insecure? How they perceive you, okay? So what they see is that you were actually very comfortable, very capable, very qualified at going back and forth between different things that you need to and switching gears. Like, it doesn't put you in shock to switch gears. Like, some people, it's hard for them to switch gears from work mode to relax mode. Some people don't know how to even find relax mode. They see you as being pretty balanced and able to move back and forth between the two. Okay? Yeah, they see that you're insecure, but maybe now that you've had this conversation with them, maybe they're seeing that, what, this person can go back and forth. It's okay. And also, I think that they're seeing that, you are making progress against your insecurities, that you're not always insecure, that you go back and forth, and that, things are improving there. So, everything that we've looked at so far is actually the setup to the lesson or experience. You should recognize all of that as present tense, my dear Pisces friends. Next, what we're going to look at is your lesson or experience, and this may or may not be present. You may not be moving into that yet. That may be down the road, so you may or may not recognize it so far. Some of you will. Some of you will be almost completely done with this life cycle, and others of you will be just starting it, so you won't be actually experiencing all of the next things that I'm talking about. You'll know as you hear it. Okay, so lesson or experience. There's a lot of communication going on back and forth between you and somebody else, and I feel like this communication is moving pretty quickly. I think that you're kind of looking for a backup plan to whatever might be going on in your environment and whatever fears you're facing. You're kind of looking for a backup plan, like, okay, worst case scenario, what can I do here? And you're communicating with other people to kind of start to actually get the wheels in motion for the backup plan to make sure it's in place and ready for you in case you need it. Now, that's where the communication is all coming in. And then, as you have this communication going on, we do have some things coming into being as this moves forward. The first thing is, I do see you learning some new things, okay? So if this has to do with a job, this could be learning new job skills, all right? For those of you that this has to do with love, this could be figuring out other ways to meet people, This could be figuring out other ways to work your relationship so that it works out better for both you and your partner. But there's definitely some things that you're learning here. As you are learning these things, we have a situation where something that made you feel secure and safe just kind of suddenly is not there to be relied on anymore. Okay? And so as you're learning, when this happens, I feel like gaining that knowledge, whatever that knowledge was, helps you cope with whatever this is. To me, whatever this is that's going on, I think you saw it coming. Okay? I think that you kind of saw the writing on the wall and you more or less expected it. I don't know if you really were able to prepare for it like you would have liked to have been, but I think that it's not such a big surprise, really, whenever this thing that gives you this sense of security and safety sort of just like evaporates into thin air right before your eyes. Okay? And the next thing that we're looking at is ultimate fulfillment of this life cycle, which is really the kickoff or the beginning of the next life cycle. I do see some frustration here, even though you were able to find a lot of information, you were able to learn things. I do see some frustration moving forward. So if this is about a job or finding a job, this could be, the frustration. Well, to me, it's very frustrating that the last time I went about trying to find a job, everything was online. There was no personal interaction. And so it was really hard to gauge what's going on at the other end. Are they even taking my application seriously? Is it already in the trash can? So this could be some kind of frustration like that. If this is, there's a lot of different ways that it could play out. It could be the frustration of thinking that you've got a new job lined up and then something comes up. This could be the frustration if it's work related, which it may not be. For some of you it will be, but there's also a good chunk of you that this is relationship related instead of work related. I would say we've got 60% work and 30% relationship. So there's a good chunk here of both. Now, if this is having to do with relationship, then this can be okay. I think for a lot of you, this is really adjusting things in the relationship. It may be that there's something that happened with one of your schedules and now you're having to adjust to make time to be with each other. Or it could be that there's just been a major shakeup in the relationship itself, that you guys have decided that, this is something that you were doing before isn't working and you need to find a new way. And so you're feeling your way through that. But I do see a lot of frustration coming up here, that there's, some trial and error going on. It's the ultimate fulfillment of this life cycle. There's all this communication going on, but there's still this trial and error of how do I get this the way I want it? How do I make this right? And for some of you, this is this can be also talking about law of attraction, because there's so many cards here that talk about thoughts. And our thoughts really help us with setting our vibration. And so when we've got our thoughts working at setting our vibration, there can be a little trial and error and frustration, because maybe we think we've got the vibration set just right to attract exactly what we want. And then we get in on exactly what we think we want. And we realize, oh, that's so perfect, except for this one thing, and then you have to adjust your vibration so that the next thing that comes in doesn't have that one thing and still has all the good things. So that can be that frustration that's coming in too for some of you as you're learning to manifest. It may be that what you're learning is to manifest because you're seeing the writing on the wall and you want to know, okay, how can I make my life better if worse comes to worse? Okay. So anyway, that is your reading, Pisces. I hope that you find it helpful. You guys know if you want a private reading, I love to do readings. All you have to do is check out my website, amista.info, I-N-F-O. Check out my contact information, make sure I'm the right person for you, and then reach out to me and we'll get something scheduled for you. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you all on the next video. Peace out.